Hi everyone, Michael back with another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to patch a new record into a gallery using a pop-up screen and Power Apps. If you enjoy Power Apps, Power Automate, Teams, SharePoint, and Power BI videos, feel free to subscribe. Coming out more videos in those areas. So let's get into the video. So you want to patch a new record into your gallery, or basically your SharePoint list. Let me look up marketing. This is where my SharePoint list is held with all the data. Well, basically, essentially, I'll be patching data into this SharePoint list using Power Apps. And if you haven't seen my two previous videos, feel free to check them out because I show you how to make this grid view and to update these records using the submit button. But now we want to patch in a new record. Let's go ahead and do that. So I will first create a new button because I will use a button to make the pop out window appear visible. Let's put a button up here and let's go ahead and change the color of it. So we'll make this one green and we'll change the text to a record. All right, so we want to make it when a user clicks on here, a pop-up appears. Let me go ahead and rename this. So button new record and button submit for the other one. It's important to label your components. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So I need a rectangle for the background. So I want this rectangle to appear on the screen because I don't want users to click outside of the pop-up window, and we want to change the fill on this so it's transparent. I'll just go to the fill property of this rectangle and set this list to 0.5 or 0.3. And let's actually change this to gray. I'll just go to color over here and change that to gray and then switch that back to 0.5. So this kind of has like a transparent effect. So when the pop-up window appears, it looks pretty nice. And I don't want this rectangle will prevent users from clicking in the background. So let's go ahead and change this visible property to false right now for the rectangle. And we will rename this rectangle background. Okay, so now we need another rectangle for hosting the data. So we will have where the user will enter in their data in this rectangle right here. So we'll do rectangle pop-up. And let's go ahead and change this to a different color. We will use this random color. I don't know which color it is. Let's go ahead and start inputting some information. So we want to do a label, just telling the user what's going on. So submit new record. And I want this to be centered in the middle of this. So let's go ahead and try to do that. So I will make the X value a rectangle pop up dot X. So that's going to put it at the start of the X. Let's go ahead and make the width of this rectangle. So rectangle pop up dot width. So now it's the width and starts at the X, and let's just go ahead and center this. So now it's centered. And we want this to be at the top, so let's go ahead and change the Y value of this to rectangle pop up dot Y. So now it's at the top, and let's just go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And let's make it bold. Okay. And we'll go ahead and make this label pop up header. All right, so we have 5 pieces of information we need the user to submit for this record. Let's go ahead and create some labels. So label 1, this will be first name. Let's just go ahead and create the labels. The label, pop up, keep it consistent. First name. I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste that. Just go ahead and do last name. Now we need a job title. Now we need skill and start date. Okay, we have our labels and they're all labeled correctly. So let's go ahead and fill in the text. So last name. Yep, this is first name. So let's change this to first name. Last name. Job title. Skill. And start date. Okay, now we need to get these to lay out vertically. So let's go ahead and go to the first one, which is first name. And I want the X to be where the pop out starts. So that'd be the rectangle pop-up.x. Now it's at the left-hand most side. And I actually want this to be a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and make this a half of the screen. So we'll just do rectangle pop-up dot width. Let's just do divided by 3. That'll take up 1/3 of the space. Let's go ahead and do it all the way on the left-hand side. And let's just go ahead and copy this width. I want to apply that to each of these. So I just control click and go ahead to the width, set them all to that. And then I also want to set the X of the first name to everyone else. So I'm just going to go ahead and control click on all those, go to that X, and we want to set the text alignment all the way to the right. So now they're all in order, but we need to increase the space between the Y values. So let's go ahead and do that. This one starts, let's have this start at the rectangle pop-up dot Y. So it's at the top right now. Let's go ahead and do plus 150. So it's always going to be 150 pixels below that. And let me go ahead and copy that Y to the last name. And we want to do this on the label pop-up first name. So I want this to appear underneath the first name. I don't want it to be by 150. I'll just do like 40. 40 looks fine. Let's go ahead and copy that. Go to the job title. Go to the Y. Switch this to last name since job title is actually under the last name. Go ahead and go to skill next. So this goes under job title. And let's go ahead to start date. Actually, this should be skill because start date's under skill. All right, so now we have them all in order right here. So now let's go ahead and do the inputs. So we need to input this information for the patch to work. So the first two are just single lines of text. So I'm going to use the text input. So let's go ahead and do text input, pop up, first name. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and do that for last name. All right, so now we need to space these correctly. Let's go ahead and go to the X. I want this to be on the same. Actually, let's go to the Y first because I want this to be on the same label pop up first name dot Y. So now it's on the same Y value as your first entry. So now we need to make sure space looks all right. So let's go ahead and do the last name on the correct Y value. The label pop up last name Y, and we will put the X value right after the first name. I mean the last name. So this would be label pop up last name dot X plus label pop up last name dot width. So it's taking the X value and the width, putting it right after it. And I want to put a little more space between those. So let's do plus 50. And I think we should increase the left-hand side values just so these aren't stacked on top of each other. So let's go ahead and control click on all these. Go to the X. Actually, this is the Y. Let me see what I have right now. I want to change all these to 80. See how that looks. I think that's too much space now. Actually, no, I think that looks fine because then I'll have the back and the submit button down here. All right, let's work with this. Let's go ahead and remove the default. Remove the default here. All right, so now we need to add the job title. So it's going to be a combo box. And I'm pretty sure I already have the combo box already made. So right here, combo underscore job title. So I'm just going to paste it from the previous one. And let's go ahead and work with this. So it has all the choices already in the items. And that's just choices, employee data job title, because this is a single choice column. Let's go ahead and make the height, I think it's 40 for all these. And change this combo pop-up job title. Let's go ahead and fix the X and Y values. So this X value is just going to be, I'm going to align this with the other one. So I'm just going to do text, input, pop-up. We'll do the first name, so .x, and that's going to line up with this X value. And I'm just going to do the same for width. So now I'm just going to, every time I change this text input pop-up first name, it's going to change this one too. On select, I'm just not going to have anything in the on select. Default selected items, it's going to be nothing because I don't want nothing selected. And we should be good on that. Let's go ahead and copy the skill one. So this is a multi-text, a multi-choice field. I'm just going to do the same. Yeah, I don't think it copied. Combo skill, copy, paste. Now we have it. Let's go ahead and fix the width. This is going to be text input, pop up, first name, dot width. And then I want to do the X. Is the other one. The text input underscore first name dot X. Oh, this should be pop up. Pop up. I was wondering why it didn't change the width. Okay, there we go. We got the width. Now we need to make the height only 40. All right, so when I click on it, I should be able to click on multiple values. And now we just need to do the start date. And it's going to remove all these errors. Should be no default selected items. So the start date, just going to go ahead and copy the other date I have from the gallery I made. Paste that in and do the same for that. Let's just make the default date today. And we'll make the width the same as the other ones. So the width, the X, and the Y needs to be label pop up start date .y. And we just need to change the height to 40. Okay, so now we have a little pop-up. Let me make a border on this rectangle pop-up. And let me remove these errors, just the on select. Okay, so now we need to make two buttons, one for going back and one for submitting the record. Let me go ahead and make two buttons. So this one will be back. And this one will be for submit. All right, so now we pretty much have a pop-up window that will take in user inputs, and now we just need to create the backend logic. The button, pop-up, submit. Actually, this is back. All right, so we have all of our labels set accordingly. So for this back thing, I want to have all these all these components set on a visible. So if this new record is clicked, that visibility is going to be set to true. So all this shows. So let's go ahead and do that. And let me actually group all these up together. So this is all the pop-up stuff. I'm just going to press on group at the top. So now we have a group. So group pop-up. All right, so we will set the on select for this new record. Let's go ahead and set a var pop-up. And we'll set that to true when this is clicked. So when that's clicked, I want everything to show. So let's go ahead and click on the group. I'm going to click on the visible and set this to var pop-up. So right now var pop-up is true since I clicked on the button, so that's why the pop-up is showing. And I can't click on anything in the background, but I can click on everything in here. So for this back button, I want to have the on select to set everything to false. I'm going to do set var pop-up to false. And there's the code for that. So when I click on the back button, everything disappears. Oh, it looks like the back button didn't disappear, and that's because it isn't in the group. Let me group that up together and redo that to group pop-up. And we'll click on the back button, go to the visible property, and set this to var pop-up. So right now it's false. When I click on it, it's true. When I click on back, it goes away. And we just need to do the submit patching right now. So now we want to patch in a new record, which is going to contain this info. So let's go ahead and do the on select. That's going to be patch. Data source going to be employee data. And then I want to do defaults. So defaults creates a new record. I'm going to do that in the employee data list. Close up the parenthesis with a comma. And now I want to enter in the information. So the first field I have is the title field, and I want to do the text input underscore first name. Actually, this is pop-up. So that's why it's important to label your stuff so you know what you're working with and don't get confused. So we're doing the text inside the text input. So this is highlighted green. Now we want to do last name. So these are columns in my SharePoint list, and I want to do the text input pop-up last name dot text. Next is the choice field, the single choice field job title. So it's going to be job title. And I want to do combo pop-up job title dot selected. And that's going to get the value from the combo box right here. So for the skills one, this is actually a multi-select one. So we have to do combo skill. This is combo skill one. I didn't label it correctly if you look on the left-hand side. So combo skill one dot selected items, and that will patch in all the selected items you have. And last is start date. So we want to get the date from the date select field. So date select start date underscore one dot selected date, and that will patch in the selected date. So now we just need to close this up with a parenthesis, and I'll leave it up on the screen for a second so you can take a screenshot or look at your code. Those patch function is going to create a new record using all this data in the pop-up field. And you can make it to where if one of these fields is required, you can have the submit button not submit it until you get all the required information. It's a little more using logic like if statements. So if this was blank, I don't want to patch anything. I just want to send a notification to the user saying, hey, you need to put some information in this field. If they all contain some data, you can go ahead and patch it then. So I'm not going to do that. Let's just go ahead and put in our new record. So pressing back. Oh, before we do that, we need to set the variable to be false after I submit something. So we'll go ahead and do a set var pop-up. And let's set all that to false so the pop-up goes away. And we'll send a notification to the user. So we'll do notify. So notify will send a pop-up. So we can say information was submitted. All right, so when we submit this information, we should get a pop-up, and it looks like something isn't right. Oh, notity. It should be notify. All right, so everything looks good. Let's go ahead. So if I want to enter in a new record, I'll click on submit new record. We'll do Mike, and we'll do Lopal. Why not? And he is a cleric, and his skills are Excel, Power Automate, Power Apps, and his start date was March 30th. Let's go ahead and press on submit. So now you see the information was submitted, and we now have Mike at the bottom of the screen down here. So that is how you submit a new record using a pop-up screen in Power Apps. It's type of a longer video, but if you're doing a bigger screen, you want to make sure all those component positions are correct, because you don't want users to go into like the bigger screen and the stretches out and the components are all over the screen. So just make sure when you click on the pop-up, everything stays in place. But that's the video. I'll probably make another video. So at the bottom of the screen, there'll be like empty. There'll be an empty row here. Once you submit all the data, it'll patch in that data. I'll make another video on that. But I like using a pop-up because it's kind of more user-friendly, and it's very easy and very easy to troubleshoot when something goes wrong. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was quite longer. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.